Hello guys, very good morning. Welcome to the new sessions of Docker and Kubernetes. So before we go into the Docker and Kubernetes and what are the different concepts that you are going to learn in Docker and Kubernetes, first let me introduce myself. Hi, I am Chaitanya. I am your trainer for the next 15 to 20 days of session. So in these sessions, we are going to discuss about the Docker and Kubernetes. And when you come to my experience, I'm having 10 plus years of experience in the IT field and as well as 11 to 12 years of like in between. I started my career in 2013 as an Microsoft trainer. So I trained my candidates over the Microsoft servers, Microsoft products. I'm a certified Microsoft trainer. And then later on, I switched my career towards the Linux and I'm a Red Hat certified. And later, I got into the cloud environment. I'm an AWS architect certified, and I'm an AWS architect. And then I joined into this Kubernetes concept. So into the DevOps. Okay, so I'm an certified Kubernetes administrator. These are the certifications which I am having. And when you see here, right now I am working for a top MNC company. Okay, so as an DevSecOps administrator with the highest level. So this is my introduction. Okay, so when you see here, uh, so what is the capability of me? So how you can train us on the Kubernetes? So because of my certification which I possess, okay, I have a bare minimum knowledge of training a candidate. What are the requirements to clear out the certification, and as well as what are the requirements to clear out an interview. Okay, in the Docker and Kubernetes perspective. Why? Because here we are discussing only about the Docker and Kubernetes. So a candidate who attends the interview for the entire DevOps position, he needs to have the total understanding towards the DevOps. So in the DevOps, what are the crucial parts are the crucial parts right now whenever you attend for an interview. The crucial parts are first one is Terraform, second one is Docker and Kubernetes. So if I have to say 50% of the score will be on Docker and Kubernetes. They will ask you to write the Docker file. They will ask you to create the manifest files. So in the interview, this is how the interview is going to happen. So, and later they will ask you about Terraform and then Jenkins and then remaining the what I can say remaining DevOps skills. So the most important and prominent role of your DevOps or else whatever the tools that you are using, the most important tools are Docker and Kubernetes. So why they are important? What is their necessity in the current IT world? We will discuss about that. But before I go into the topic of Docker and Kubernetes, let us have an one-to-one interaction. Let us have an closer communication between the trainer and the trainee. Okay, I won't say you as a student. Why? Because you are the grown-ups. Okay, so you are working as a professional. Some people might be working as professionals. Some people may have some 15 years of experience. Some people may have some 20 years of experience. Some people will have some 3 years of experience. And some people are just join or about to join into the companies. So I don't want you to call us as students. Okay, so you are the trainees where we are going to get the training on Docker and Kubernetes. So let us have an one-to-one interaction or related to Docker and Kubernetes. Yes, anyone, can you please start introducing about yourself and telling? And I don't want a very prolonged introduction about yourself. I want your name, or else if you don't want to say about the name, also no problem. I just want what is your agenda for joining the Docker and Kubernetes session? Why you want to learn Docker and Kubernetes session, and what is your experience? Okay. So if you start with this, that's more than enough. Yeah. So let's start.
Okay, so Chaitanya, this is Prashant here,
Yeah.
and
Hi.
I'm almost having 15 plus years of experience. And the agenda to join this session is to get the understanding on the Docker and Kubernetes, uh, since it's a fancy now,
Yeah,
and
15 years of experience into which
Java,
technology?
Java
Java
technology,
technology.
Java and C++. Okay.
Right, right, right. Very good. Yeah.
So currently we have started to using this Docker and Kubernetes part. So just to get a more glance, I have joined this session, and I'm interested to learn Java and Kubernetes to creating this Docker and the manifest file with respect to Spring Boot and the microservices part. Yeah, that's
Fine. Thanks.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Any another person?
Hi,
Yeah,
Chaitanya. This
hi,
is
myself.
Mahinder.
Yeah.
Go
Hi,
ahead.
Mohammed.
Good, Mahinder. I'll do that.
So I'm having around like 8 years of experience into QA technology. Right now in my company, they started using the all the DevOps tools, using Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, and all those. So I'm more interested to uh, get hands on to that.
Okay. Yeah. Next.
Yeah,
Thanks. Thanks.
hello, sir. Myself, Subash, and I have a 12 years of experience in core Java automation development.
Mm-hmm.
And last 1 year, I'm in break, and I'm planning to switch my career to the machine learning. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to about to start attending interviews. This would be helpful for me.
Mm. Okay. Good.
So,
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, Chaitanya, myself, Nageshwara.
Okay.
I'm also a Java developer. I want to skill up on Docker and Kubernetes with respect to how it can be used in Java Spring Boot microservice applications.
Yeah. Fantastic. Java Spring Boot. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Nagesh. Any
Hi,
another?
Chaitanya. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is Ravi. I'm currently working with UBS and I'm joining this training because of it is a part of my work and I have never worked on Kubernetes earlier. So I want to learn about this, about Kubernetes and the required other tools which works with Kubernetes. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Hi,
So, hi.
my name is Narsingh Yadav.
Okay.
Yeah, I have experience of 17 years in Japanese language and translation,
Mm.
interpretation and translation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, when I try to attend some interviews for companies,
Mm-hmm.
most of the companies are asking for questions, courses.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this, DevOps and cloud computing are the more demanding courses nowadays. So I joined this group.
So, fine. So is there anyone else? Okay. Yogesh? Is Yogesh is there?
Yeah, hi. Uh,
Hi.
I have around 4 years of experience in Java technology, and my upcoming project there are requirement for the DevOps and Kubernetes. So I joined this.
Okay, thanks. Thanks all. Thanks for your brief introduction. So if you see here, I can see more of Java-related engineers are there. So not only this batch, whenever I conduct any batch towards the Docker and Kubernetes, I find out more number of Java people will be attending towards these sessions. Okay. So it's a fantastic scenario. There are a few people who are related to testing, and there are a few people who wants to learn machine learning, and there are a few people who are learning about the Java. I mean, they are working on the Java and having a very good experience towards the Java, and they want to have more hands-on experience towards the containerization and orchestration. So here, containerization and orchestration. So containerization comes under the Docker, okay, and when you come to orchestration, comes under the rules. Kubernetes will comes under the orchestration. So now, when we go in detail about the Docker, and before we go in detail about the Docker and Kubernetes, okay, so the people who are from the development background and testing background. So most of the people are from the development and testing background. So you can easily accommodate or else you can easily understand whatever the terminology that I am trying to explain. So what are the basic prerequisites to learn this Docker and Kubernetes? Are there are any basic prerequisites to learn? Yes, there are a few basic prerequisites that you need to understand. First and foremost thing is just you need to have a basic knowledge about the AWS EC2 instances. Why AWS EC2 instances? Because we are going to look after the servers, whatever the servers that I am going to create, all the servers will be created in the EC2 only, which means in the AWS only. So those are the EC2 instances. Sir, can we create these servers on the virtual machines? Yes, you can create. I don't have any problem related to creating the servers on the virtual machines if you don't have the AWS account. But it is a recommended practice. If you are having an AWS account, then it will be very easy for you to catch up the classes. Okay. So my request or else my requirement or basic requirement is have a basic, very basic knowledge about AWS is also more than enough. Sir, I don't know what is meant by AWS. So then also we will try to create an AWS instances in these demo sessions, whatever the 3 days of demos are there. Among these 3 days, I will try to cope up and I will try to cover the creating AWS EC2 instances, creating an AWS account if possible, or else directly I will show you how to create an EC2 instances in the AWS environment. So later we will create the EC2 instances. EC2 instance is nothing but an Linux server or else a server. Okay. So we will see about that and later we will discuss about the Docker container creation and then Kubernetes orchestration. Everything will be covered in the AWS environment. So this is the first thing. And the second thing is that, so now if I see here, there are some 10 years, 15 years and some 12 years, 18 years and 4 years of experience candidates are there. So with this experience, so I can understand or else I can expect that at least you will have a basic understanding towards the IP addressing or networking. Did anybody oppose my statement? So I hope that everyone is having a very basic understanding towards the IP addressing. Can I expect that? Which means
Yes.
what is a private IP, what is the public IPs, or else 172.17.0.0 or else 172.16.0.1, 172 or else 10 series or else 192 series. At least if you have that knowledge, that's more than enough for me. So this is also one of the predictors. Is it really required to learn Docker and Kubernetes? It is not a very much highly requirement, but to understanding the network flow, to understand how requests will hit the server and from there how they will be reaching towards the container and how container is going to respond back, you need to have the basic understanding towards the network. And in Kubernetes, there is a concept called as networking policies. Whenever we are discussing about the networking policies, at least you need to understand, you need to have a basic knowledge on the networking content. Okay. So I am not asking you deliberately to learn about more about the networking. See, I am a CCNA trainer. I am a CCNA certified trainer or else I am a certified CCNA trainer. Okay, so I know what will be there in the networking. There will be subnetting, there will be protocols, there will be what I can say static routes, static dynamic routes, and BGP. There are so many different kinds of things that are there in the networking. I don't want you to learn all those things. So if you have a basic understanding towards the IP addressing, that's more than enough. Okay, IP addressing or networking. That too, why I am requesting you to understand about that concept is you need to have a basic understanding towards how two containers will communicate, how or else how an IP address will be assigned to the containers, or else how pods will communicate with each other. When we are discussing about the services in Kubernetes, how these services will work, what is a port number, what is a protocol. So at least you need to have that knowledge. So I can see that there are 15 years of candidates, experienced candidates. Then It is very much easy for me to make you understand about all these things. Okay. So these are the prerequisites. That's apart from that, you need to have a very good laptop. Okay, laptop, and I don't require you to have a high configuration laptop like some 16 GB of RAM, 32 GB of RAM, and i7 processor. I don't require bare minimum laptop with 4 GB RAM and a very good internet speed. Internet speed is required. So if you are having a very good internet speed, then that's more than enough to learn this Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, for learning Docker and Kubernetes, these are the prerequisites. Now, when you're coming back to the things, so you might be directly jumping onto the Docker and Kubernetes, but there is a path. If you want to lay your path, there are a few people who are working as a developers. So I don't want to talk about those people who are having highly experienced candidates, who are the highly experienced candidates. But I want to discuss about those candidates who are currently starting their cloud career, who are currently starting their cloud career in the sense who are freshers. If you are having some 15 years of experience, 12 years of experience, then with that development experience, if you integrate this Docker and Kubernetes experience or else Docker and Kubernetes knowledge, then it will be an added asset for your entire resume or else added asset for your entire career. So I don't want to mention how you have to learn the cloud, how you have to learn the Docker and Kubernetes, how you have to learn the DevOps. But those candidates who are newly joining, who are freshers, who are having minimum, I mean, below 5 years of experience, I am talking to those people. So there is a particular path to learn the entire DevOps. Okay. So the main path here is first one is you need to have the basic understanding towards the Linux. Okay, Linux knowledge is required. Why? Because whatever the concerned, what I can say, whatever the concerned applications or also any deployments that we are going to do or else anything that we are going to work in the companies, most of the work will be happen. 90 to 95% of the work will be happening only on the Linux servers only. So it is a very, very required course, or else it is a very, very required technology that you need to understand if you are into an IT firm. Linux is very necessary. So you need to have the basic and far more understanding towards the Linux knowledge, and you need to understand the Linux commands and all the things. So once Linux is done, so I am talking to the freshers guys. Anyways, if you are interested also, you can choose the path. This will be very handy for you. And then you need to learn the AWS or Azure. So I am not telling you definitely you have to learn AWS, definitely you have to learn Azure. Any one of the cloud is necessary. So in right now, whatever the situation that you are there in the current IT world, the current IT world is asking you to learn any one of the cloud, either it might be AWS or else Azure. And later we will go into the DevOps. Okay, so here DevOps in the sense everyone will be again segregating the DevOps or else different types of DevOps will be there. They are going to segregate that there are no such kind of DevOps. They will say you about the AWS DevOps, Azure DevOps, and like that they are going to discuss. So now you need to understand one thing. So when we are discussing about the DevOps, in DevOps, you will be having multiple tools. Either it might be Git, or else it might be Terraform, or else it might be what I can say Jenkins, it might be Maven, and it might be Docker and Kubernetes. Okay. So these are all the generalized DevOps concept. When you come to the AWS, in AWS, there is a concept called as code commit, which is very, very similar to your Git. Okay. In AWS, there is a tool called as Cloud Formation. Okay, which is equivalent to Terraform. In AWS, you are having the code pipeline, which is similar to Jenkins. Both are equal. And in AWS, you can generate the artifacts, code artifacts. So by combining all these things, they will be saying AWS DevOps. Or else in Azure also you will be having the same concepts, pipeline, commit, and all the things. So they will be saying the Azure DevOps. So point which you need to understand here is there are no such kind of different types of DevOps will be there. So they will be what I can say in the outside world. Whenever you go into the outside world, they will be making you frightened about these things, or else they will create fear in you. So in interviews, they are going to ask you. The interview panel will be asking you about the Azure DevOps. Of course, Azure DevOps is one of the tool which is related only to the Azure. But when you go into the generalized DevOps tools, Azure is one tool, that's it. Azure DevOps is one tool, that's it. Azure DevOps is not the entire DevOps. So there are different kinds of tools that you need to use in the outside world like this Terraform, Jenkins, Maven, Docker and Kubernetes, Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring purposes and the Sonar Cube for code quality analysis. Like that, there are so many another tools are available. So don't get into that kind of scams. Okay, this is one type of scam which they are going to fear you out. We are going to train you on Azure DevOps where you are going to get a job within 1 month or within 2 months. So that's all a particular scam. I will say that. Okay. So I don't want you to get into all those things. So first learn DevOps. And when you are learning the DevOps, I will divide DevOps into two sections. One will be the basic DevOps concepts like Git, Terraform, Jenkins, Docker, and then when you come to the next one, Ansible, Puppet, Chef, and then Prometheus, Grafana, and when you come to ALK stack, you will be learning about Elasticsearch, Kibana, and then you will be learning about the Sonar Cube. These are the some basic DevOps tools that you are going to learn in first phase, and the second phase consisting of only the Kubernetes. Why I am including only Kubernetes in the second phase? Why? Because Kubernetes itself will take some 30 hours of sessions. Okay, I'm talking to hours, not the classes. 30 hours of sessions. Only Kubernetes. Why 30 hours? There is a huge amount of topics. I will tell you about that in the syllabus section. Okay, don't worry about that. So, DevOps, first part, like when I say all the tools, it will take some 50 classes. When you come to the DevOps second part, that includes the Kubernetes, which is going to take Kubernetes itself will take 30 hours of sessions. So I recommend you to learn in the two parts, or else if you include in a single part. Right now we are learning as Docker and Kubernetes, we can also learn like that. So once DevOps is completed, then you are capable of attending for an interview. I am talking to the freshers and the candidates who are having below 5 years of experience into the DevOps. Okay, so you can now able to crack the interview by having all this knowledge, and later after cracking the interview, after joining to the company, after having 2 to 3 years of experience, now I recommend you to learn the second cloud. If you learn AWS here, learn Azure. Or else if you learn Azure for the first time, learn AWS. So it is a recommended practice to have the cross cloud platform knowledge. Okay. I'm not talking right away. You have to learn about this. You can learn in the when you go into your career after having 1 or 2 years of experience and having a very good hands-on experience. Later, you want to go for another cloud, then it is recommended to have this Azure and AWS knowledge. And finally, nowadays, when we are discussing about the ML and AIOps, majorly they are requesting you to have the knowledge on one particular tool called as Python. It's a coding, or also you can learn about Java also. But a little bit Python will be simpler for you rather than Java. So there are so many Java people out there who are going to offended with this, but I'm really sorry about this. So if you are you are very good at Java. So I am not a developer, guys. Clearly saying, I am coming from a core background. I'm a system administrator working with the systems, and I am an DevOps engineer. So I will be totally working on the systems and the DevOps part. So I don't have very good knowledge on coding. I just want to make sure you understand my current scenario. So what I want to tell you here is we are going to discuss more and more related to, you will have each and every knowledge towards your code pipeline. I'm not going to discuss about what will be there in the form.xml file. That in that particular thing you are expertise. Okay. When we are generating a Spring Boot application, you will have a form.xml file, which will be helpful for you to convert that into an artifact, into a jar file, and that jar file will be started with Java-jar, and that jar file with the YML files. You can start the application and you can run it out. So you are very expertise in that while creating the application. I am not good at writing the code in the Java language. I am not good at writing the code, but I am very good at how you have to build the code, how you have to generate the artifacts, how you have to move that into the containers, how you have to manage the containers, how you have to monitor the containers, how you have to check the vulnerabilities in the containers. In such cases, I am very good at those things. So when you are this leaving this class in the sense after the completion of the course, I can surely say you that whoever the candidates who has relieved from these courses, like whenever I gave the training on Docker and Kubernetes, I got a very good feedback about what I have done and what is the type of experience that you are going to get. I make sure that you will get a very good experience, very good hands-on experience on the entire course. So my courses, whatever I am discussing, will be totally on the hands-on experience only, which means we are not going to involve more and more into theoretical concepts. It will be more into the practical experience. Okay, so whenever I say you something related to any discussion that we are going to do, any topic that we are going to cover, each and every topic will be related to the practical orientation only. It's not a theoretical concept. I don't want to make you bored about the theory by telling you the theory. So I will make sure you understand the theory towards the practical. So you will have the practical experience, and then you will be very, what I can say, knowledgeable once the course is completed. So then you will get a bare minimum knowledge about the Docker and Kubernetes. At least it will be helpful for you to complete the Kubernetes certification, which will be very handy when you go into the further hikes. The experienced candidates, if you are going for a hike now, this is the March and April. I don't want to discuss about the hikes. Okay, so either it might be 5% or 10%, whatever the company is giving for you, or 50%. Okay, so if you show you that this is the certification that I have done, or else if you don't want to do the certification, I have completed the skill. This is the skill which I am having. So I am a developer, and even though I have the Docker and Kubernetes knowledge, then that will be a entry point for your hike. Okay, so you will get a lots of hikes if you have the knowledge on this particular thing. I won't say 50% and 60%, whatever the company is giving to you. So that hike definitely will be there, and you can showcase you this knowledge, and there will be a little bit higher than you are expected. Okay, so this is about how you have to learn the Docker and Kubernetes. Am I clear with this, or else are you getting any bored about what I'm saying, or else how you are feeling about the sessions? Is there anything else so far?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. So now let us discuss about the syllabus of Docker and Kubernetes. First of all, I just want to go through the Docker. What are the concepts that you are going to learn in the Docker? And later we will see the syllabus about the Kubernetes, and then we will discuss about your questionnaire part. So right, today is the first session. I don't want to make you much overwhelmed about telling you more and more technologies, technical stuff and all the things. Just want to show you about the syllabus and what you are going to learn and how you have to learn, what are the prerequisites, and I just want to get into the introduction, which we have already done. Let us see what is the syllabus that you are going to learn in the Docker and Kubernetes. The first one is basics of containers, which means why we need to go for containers. What is the necessity of going into the containers? So the second one will be, we are going to discuss about the Docker. See, here, whenever I say Docker, here you are going to learn about the containers. Okay, Docker is just a software that will handle the containers. Anyways, basic Docker basics. And the third one will be Docker images. In this, we are going to discuss about the Docker file and creating private registry. Okay, we are going to create our own private registry, and then we are going to save the Docker images into that private registry, and we are going to push and pull the Docker images. And the fourth one will be Docker networking, and fifth one will be what we are going to do, Docker volumes, and the sixth one will be Docker compose, and seventh one will be Docker swarm. So in the Docker basics, what you are going to learn here is you are going to learn about the Docker lifecycle or container lifecycle. And then you are going to learn about Docker architecture. And later on, so many things. Like here, I am going to introduce you to C groups, namespaces. Okay, so these are all the things that you are going to discuss, that we are going to discuss. So this is about your Docker syllabus. Okay, anything that you want to add upon for this? If those people who have knowledge or else at least you might have expecting these topics will be covered. So anything that you are expecting, so you can please ask me about that related to Docker. So if whoever says this, these are the concepts that they are going to say. Don't worry about that. And when you go with the Kubernetes, in the Kubernetes, we are going to discuss about Kubernetes basics. Okay, here we are going to discuss about the architecture, where we are going to cover the control plane, data plane, and then there will be so many different kinds of pods that will be seen on that Kubernetes architecture. We'll discuss about that. And the second one will be Kubernetes cluster creation. So very, very, very important point here is we are going to discuss in the production grade. I don't want you to feel the development grade. Okay, so you have to experience the production grade. Okay, in the production environment, this is how the Kubernetes clusters will be. So for that, I am going to take some multi-node cluster. I want to literally show you how you are going to create the cluster with the help of KubeADM and then KOps, and then Rancher. Okay, Rancher, and AWS managed cluster called as EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. These are also the concepts that you are going to cover in the cluster creation. And the third one will be Kubernetes workload components. Workload components, where we are going to discuss about the pods, the replica set, deployment, and then we are going to discuss about the stateful sets, okay, and then daemon set. Okay, these are all the concepts that we are going to discuss. And again, when you come to the deployments, again, strategies will be there, rollback strategy will be there, recreate strategy will be there, blue-green strategy will be there, canary type of strategy will be there. There will be different kinds of strategies that you are going to learn. And the fourth one will be Kubernetes services, where we are going to discuss about the, what I can say, cluster IP, and then we are going to discuss about the node port, and then we will be discussing about the load balancer, and then external namespace, external name service, and then headless service. These are the 5 services that we are going to discuss in the Kubernetes service. And the fifth one will be ingress controller. Okay, and the sixth one will be what I can say, ingress controller, and then sidecar containers, and probes that we are going to discuss, and then advanced scheduling. Okay, and seventh one will be in the advanced scheduling. Again, in the probes, you are going to learn about so many different kinds of probes like readiness probe, liveness probe, and then startup probes. Okay, so these are the different kinds of probes that we are going to discuss. And when you come to the advanced scheduling, there will be node selector, node affinity, and then pod affinity, pod anti-affinity, taint and tolerations. Okay, these are all the things that we are going to see the practical manner. And then after advanced scheduling, we are going to discuss about the RBAC rules. Okay, role-based access control, where we are going to discuss about the roles, and then we are going to discuss about the role bindings, and then we will be discussing about the cluster roles, and cluster role bindings. And here we are going to discuss about the user creation also. And then we will be discussing about, once RBAC is done, then we will be discussing about the storage concept, where we will be discussing about the empty directory, PV, PVC, and then what else we are having, PV, PVC, dynamic storage classes. Okay, and then we will be discussing about the EFS configuration. Then the ninth one will be secrets and config maps. And the 10th one will be network policies. And the 11th one will be help charts. 12th one will be ELK and monitoring using Prometheus and Grafana. And the 13th one will be STO mesh, or else STO service mesh. And the 14th one will be STO service mesh. Yeah. And the 4th one will be EKS. Okay, Elastic Kubernetes Service. We are going to discuss, and we will be winding up the things. So these are the concepts that you are going to learn in the entire Docker and Kubernetes. This is the syllabus. Any questions related to that?
You can the question here. I'm having a couple of questions.
Yes, please.
So regarding this Docker, you have already mentioned for Docker images where we are going to create Dockers using a Docker file. But since we are deploying using the AWS as a platform, we have not covered the ECR part. I think we need to deploy this Docker on the ECR. Right?
No, we are not deploying this in the ECR. So if you want, we are going to cover this in the AWS EKS. ECR is just a container registry, guys, Elastic Container Registry, where the images will be stored. ECR is not for running the container. ECR is for storing the images.
Yeah, right. So EKS will pull that image from the ECR, right?
Yeah. So that is what I said you, private registry, creating our own private registry. Either it might be ECR or else any another private registry I want to create, I will create it and I will show you.
Okay. And yeah, got it. And the other part in Kubernetes, I think service in the deployment file.
Mm.
I'm not sure whether we have covered or not. I
So
think
here you
this.
can see deployment is there. Here we have the services are
Okay.
there. I already discussed about that.
Okay. And my third question was like, are we going to cover this with respect to, I mean, I know that, I mean, how we are going to cover it? We will have one sample Spring Boot application, and are
No,
we going to create
I am
doc?
not going to, one second, I am not going to discuss about a single project.
Mhm.
Okay. It's my wish. Either I can go with a particular application, but what I am going to discuss here is we are going into the core level of configuration. Okay, I
Mhm.
won't tell you by taking a single project. In that project, I might not use uh, some of the tools which I have discussed over here. Okay, then
Mhm.
obviously you are going to lose those tools, right? So I don't want to make you suffer for that. So I want to make you habituated or else make you handy with all the tools, whatever comes to you, whatever the project comes to you. So you might
Okay.
be, you have to be ready to do that project. Okay, that's my agenda towards making you understanding about the Kubernetes. I don't want to take a single project. Okay. Anyways, sir, without example, we cannot understand. I have a project with me, a very sample project. I will
Mhm.
discuss about that. Or else in the end, there is a Netflix, what I can say, Netflix project is there. Netflix clone project is there. I can tell you about that. Okay. So it's not like we are going to discuss only about these things. It's not like that. Okay. But what is my consideration here is the
Mhm.
candidates who are attending these sessions, they need to get a total understanding towards the tools, Docker and Kubernetes tools, such that whenever any project comes into their hand, they can be easily able to solve it. It is not only about Java, it is not only about the Python, it is not only about the NPM or no .NET application. Any application that comes to your hand, you will be able to clear it out. Okay, am I clear?
So, yeah, Chetan, you are clear, very clear for me.
And
I'm
one more
taking,
thing I just want to add over here is GitHub or Go see. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah, sorry, I'm taking a bit longer. Uh,
Mhm.
so, Chetan, actually, what I was expecting, maybe you are covering those points, but I just need
Hmm. Tell me, your
uh,
voice is
confirmation
inaudible,
from
right?
you. What we are doing right now,
Hmm.
we already, am I audible now?
Yeah. Please go
Yeah.
on.
So what we are having right now, we are already having the existing My Spring Boot microservices that application already on the production right now.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But we are moving the entire setup in a containerization thing.
Hmm.
So since we are already having the existing application and we just need to do the containerization, we need to write a Docker files and the
Hmm.
manifest file from the Kubernetes side. So that part is already being covered. Uh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. When we are discussing about this Docker file creation, there I will explain you about each and everything. Okay, in the perspective of Java, in the perspective of Python also.
Okay.
Okay, so see, with the bare minimum knowledge, whatever I have done from the past 6 years as a DevOps engineer, I have created multiple number of Java related events. Okay, so simple. You will be writing the you will be generating the source code with the help of Maven. Okay, I mean whatever the source code that you write in Java. So either you will be writing on the Java 17 platform or Java 11 platform, or there are some Java 8 platform related what I can say code you are going to write. Okay. After that, what you will do, you will generate a pom.xml file. In the pom.xml file, you are going to put all the dependencies. And then in the Spring Boot application, you will create a YML file where you are going to discuss about what is the name of the service, on which port the service is going to run. And later you will write certain dependencies, or else you are going to write something in the YML file. And then you will hand over the YML file and the entire whatever the source code that you have written. you will hand over it to the DevOps engineer. Now it's the work of the DevOps engineer to convert that source code into a jar file. How he is going to do that with the help of Maven clean and Maven install. So a jar file will be generated. Am I correct up to this point? Or there is anything that you are going to do something differently?
No, Chaitanya.
This is right?
We are on the same page.
Yeah. So then, in general, just forget about the containers. How you are going to run this service on your server, java-jar and that jar file name -- Spring Boot files -- Spring Boot file is equal to whatever the YML file that you have given. We will give it to that. So then the service will start and it will be running on the consent port, whichever it is given in the YML file, right?
Right.
So the same we are going to do in the containerization also. How we are going to do, what we are going to do, that we will see. But I'm not, see, again, I'm telling you, it's not about the development. It is about how you are executing that file. So when it comes to the Docker and Kubernetes, it is all about how you are going to run that application. Okay. So when we are writing the Docker file, how these commands will be given, how we are going to create the dependencies, how we are going to install the dependencies inside the container, how we will be generating an image. This matters. So that concept we are going to cover it out. Okay, no worries about that. Am I clear?
Yes, Chaitanya. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chaitanya, one question about Jenkins or any CI/CD tool, right? So I see that it's Jenkins that we'll be learning.
No, Jenkins. Here you are not going to learn about the Jenkins.
Then which
it's only
CI/CD tool?
Docker and Kubernetes. That's where the GitOps will comes into the picture. Okay. So
Okay.
I am not going to discuss about any CI/CD pipeline. But what I will do here is after the completion of the course, after the entire course is completed, I will give you 1 week of time. Okay, you can go through all the concepts. The next week, after the course completed, the next week, either it might be Saturday and Sunday, I am going to take one session, and in that session, I am going to cover you the entire pipeline. Okay, entire pipeline in the sense. See, here again telling you installing the Jenkins and telling you about all the things that will not cover in this course. The course is completely about the Docker and Kubernetes only. So I just want to set your expectations. So here what I am going to explain you is Docker and Kubernetes. And Jenkins, when it comes, means after completing of this course, I just want to show you when the developer is there, what developer will do. Developer will write the entire code and push it into the Git. Okay. Either it might be GitHub or else GitLab or Bitbucket, like that. There are so many source version control platforms are there. For example, I have pushed my code into the GitHub. So from there, how Jenkins will be pulling out the code and how it is going to convert the source code into an artifact, and from that artifact, how I can write the Docker file, and then how I can create the container and how I can deploy that container into the Kubernetes environment. Okay. In between, I am going to cover you about a few, what I can say, vulnerability test with the help of Privy, if possible. So I will show you the path. Okay, not right now, but after the completing of the course. Am I clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Anything else?
Yeah, just one thing, Chaitanya. So what are the minimum prerequisites you expect for the person to have to take this course?
I think I already discussed about this.
Sorry, I late joined.
No problem.
So, okay.
No problem. So the prerequisites are basic knowledge about the AWS EC2 instances. How to create the EC2 instance. That is what my requirement. If you don't have knowledge also, we will try to cover that in the demo sessions. How to create the EC2 instances. The second prerequisite is minimum knowledge on networking and IP Linux. Okay, why? Because the Kubernetes and Docker, whatever we are writing, we will be working on the Linux environment only. So at least you need to have the basic Linux knowledge, not very in deep about that. Okay, so I don't want you to share the files. I don't want you to do all the things. Just a basic knowledge of Linux is more than enough for me to cover. Or else, no, sir, I don't have any Linux knowledge also. No problems. So here we are going to cover the Docker CLI and Kubernetes CLI.
Okay.
So you don't need to worry about the Linux also. Okay. But if you have the knowledge on Linux, then whenever we are discussing about copying some file from one source to another destination, then you will be easily understandable. Or else I have to explain you about all those things also. I am copying the file from here to here. I am moving the file from here to here. I have to tell that also. Okay. But if you have knowledge on that, it won't be like you don't need to. I don't need to explain you about all those things.
Okay. The CLI commands you mean to say? Then
CLI
Linux. Okay.
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 So that's a prerequisite. Apart from that, I am not expecting any another prerequirement.
Because you mentioned once there actually write the code in Java. So is that actually is a part of DevOps? I mean, or not DevOps. I'm talking about Docker or Kubernetes engineer.
No. See, myself, I'm saying I am not a software developer. Okay. I'm a system administrator. Do I write any code? I don't write any code. But who will write the code? Developers will write the code and push it to the Git.
Okay.
So from there, I will pull out and I will do the things. So a DevOps engineer need not to, I don't say that he doesn't need to have a very high skill towards the coding. Okay. But at least you need to understand what developer is trying to explain you. Developer will be saying that this is the code which I have pulled, and in this code, these are the dependencies are there that should be installed on the server, and this is what has to be happened. So you need to have that basic knowledge. Okay. So it's not like you don't need the entire coding, and as well as it is not like you need to have a very high-end knowledge towards the coding. But at least you need to understand what developer is saying.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, in this session, we are not going to discuss about the form files, form.xml file, or else app.py file, or else any node package manager files. We are not going to discuss about all those things. But just to make sure you understand the concept, I will try to explain you about a few coding related things. Okay, not the coding. I am again telling you I am not going to tell you about core Java, advanced Java, Spring Boot, Oracle, databases and all the things. But whatever the knowledge that I have, I will make sure that you will understand what I am trying to explain in the perspective of the developer and as well as in the perspective of a DevOps engineer.
No, my question is here. So the Spring Boot, whatever Java it made, but you are covering or not, that is not interested. But only thing is, do we need to know those things?
No, that is what I am saying.
No, okay, no problem. Thanks. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Not necessary. Again, telling you the things, but as a DevOps engineer, again, making the point here, you don't need to have the coding language, but you need to have an understanding towards what developer is trying to explain you.
Okay.
Okay. So that is the point what you need to understand. Right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. There's one more question is actually. So because it's Kubernetes is a latecomer, so before it was Docker there. So what exactly the Kubernetes replacing in the Docker functionality?
It's not a latecomer. See, the point is, what I can say, you are in a company. Okay, you are in a company. You are just a fresher who has joined the company. Okay, there are 10 freshers in your team. All are freshers. On the top of you, you don't have a manager. Okay, you don't have a manager. What is the situation of the team right now? If you don't have a manager, are you going to? So you don't have on the top of you, you don't have anyone. So you will behave as you like. You will come to office one day. You won't come to office the another day.
Yeah, accountability problem. Yeah.
Accountability won't be there. Responsibility won't be there. It is not like same, but the point is when the containers are running, standalone containers are there. Suddenly, if one container is terminated, who has to monitor that the container is terminated? Who has to manage the container? Who has to manage the services? There should be some management thing should be there, right?
Yeah.
So when you come to the Docker is a standalone application. Okay. But for management, we need an orchestrator like Kubernetes, like